So in this part of the demo, we're showcasing some key elements of borderless networks around network resiliency and network uptime. So joining me is Jean-Francois. Great to have you here.
Hi.
So talk to us about some of the challenges that customers are facing around how to deliver a really highly available network infrastructure.
So when you want to have a resilient stack or fixed configuration switches, the trade-off are that you want redundancy on the power supply on the power source, and in that case you are faced with either having two power supply in all your switches or having an external like RPS, redundant power system. There's advantages and disadvantages to those both solutions. In one case you have to end up with a lot of power supply, the other one you have to have another device in your stack. So the solution that we introduced with the new Catalyst 3750X is stack power.
Stack power.
Stack power. So what stack power does to power is what StackWise did for data and control plane when we introduced it in 2003. So stack power will literally redefine what stacking means. What we do with stack power is that we basically create a pool of power supply. All the power supply in all those three switches are unified. And the energy from one power supply can freely go from one switch to the other switch using stack power.
So here we have, we're seeing the back shot of three 3750Xs that are stacked on top of each other. So this stack power, how new is it? When did we introduce this?
A few months ago. So it's brand new.
Brand new.
It comes standard on 3750X. And literally this is redefining what stacking is. So an example of what it does. Here you have two power supply in each of those switches. So you will think everything is redundant, of course. So I cannot create a failure on the first switch.
So now you're actually unplugging power from the switch.
And then just to prove to everybody there's no power, failure of one power supply or failure of the power source. Second power supply, no big deal, everything is like you expect. What's new with stack power is that you have a second failure. So you literally do not have any power supply or power source in that unit. And as you can see, everything is still working properly.
So this top switch has no more power, but it's all coming through the stack power.
Yes, basically the four power supply remaining in the other two switches are powering the switch on top. And what's important is really how much power you have in your stack and how much you need to make your stack happy. In that case, you have the phones and the switch that are all powered by those four power supplies. So I can go even a step further and create another failure. So you have three power supply powering those three switches and the phones also. I can go remove an additional power supply. Now you have two switches that have no power supply and still function perfectly.
It looks like these lights are on over here. Both of them are still up and running.
Exactly. Yeah, power goes through the cable. And finally, I can remove one more power supply. So you literally have three switches, a bunch of phones that are all powered via one power supply. The energy goes from that power supply, feed the first switch, and through stack power goes to the other switch. So this is an extreme case, but it shows you that to add redundancy to a stack of 3750X, you could simply add one power supply anywhere in your stack, and that power supply is going to be ready in case there's a failure to kick in and basically save your stack.
Now, so ultimately here, really all about network uptime, network resiliency, and you've given just a very visual demonstration of actually removing the powers, but it could be really any power supply failure that might occur isn't going to impact the ongoing production or operation of that network.
Exactly. On a borderless network, you need uptime 24/7, and stack power gives you that assurance that whatever happens, your stack is going to be up.
That's great. Well, Jean-Francois, this has been very enlightening. Thanks for your time. What you've seen here is stack power in action. This is a new feature announced by Cisco. From Cisco Live, thanks for tuning in.